Hey everybody, it's the media junkie from the culture of pop. How y'all doing? I hope you're doing wonderful today, and I hope it's just been a magnificent day for you. Other than that, I am back for February Letterboxd. That's right. This is something we do on here where we review what I watched in February with usually my kids or by my lonesome. So we're going to go through that. February was a big month for Saturday Night Live for us in the family. Me and my kids love Saturday Night Live. Well, me and my daughter. Son likes it, but he's not as involved in it as I am, and he or my daughter is. But we started it off with the 1st of September. We watched Ladies and Gentlemen 50 Years of SNL Music. Very good. Very excited for this. It was what I thought it was going to be and not what I thought it was going to be. I thought there'd be a whole lot of more footage of like the guest musicians and stuff that were actually guests, but it took liberty and incorporated music into the whole aspect of Saturday Night Live. In other words, they talked about digital shorts with a Lonely Island. They talked about musicians that had been on the show and been not cast members, but been in skits. The music of the show, how they even talked about the opening song. So there wasn't as much of the musical guests that I thought they would have on there. I thought they'd show just about all of them. That's the only thing that was disappointing. Otherwise, it was very exciting, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next one we watched was the Fab Five. This was my son's pick. This is about a basketball team in high school. I don't really know. I'm not a big sports fan. He usually chooses the sports documentaries and stuff like that. But I know it's about five guys that did really well in high school, and they were kind of kept them packed to be this five-guy team, and they were all really good. It was very inspiring. I know that, and it was very uplifting. So yeah, the Fab Five, and I gave that one 3.5 out of 5. Yeah. And then Monster Summer. We got to talk about Monster Summer. Monster Summer has neither no monster or summer. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't have a monster in it though. There's no monsters. It's a witch. Sorry to spoil it for you. But that's kind of like 2.5 out of 5 stars. That's why I gave it that. I thought this was going to be more goosebumpy, but actually it was a little more childlike than the the goosebump level. But it was all right. It was kind of like a Stranger Things, but like more for like preteens and before that, maybe even. But yeah, it wasn't bad. 2.5 out of 5. Mel Gibson was in it. That's the main reason I watched it, and just the fact that I thought it was going to be a little like Goosebumps. But Goosebumps is actually not scary, but it's a little more tense than this Monster Summer is. Next one was you're going to start seeing some stuff because in February, January, that's when films really go to die. They Hollywood dumps all their stuff from last year in January, February, so it's hard to find good stuff to watch. So I watched a bunch of stuff off my lists, like my Hulu list, Netflix list that I had had on there forever, and just wasn't excited about watching it. So I went ahead because I wanted to watch movies. Um, Boss Level, pretty good movie. It's like Groundhog Day, but in an action movie. If you like that, Mel Gibson's in it. Frank Grillo's in it. I like both of them. Frank Grillo did a really good job. Mel Gibson's hardly in it, but the whole aspect of Groundhog Day, but done with action, is really cool. It's very neat. He has to wake up every day with like people trying to kill him, and yeah, I thought it was a really good story. I'm not a big Groundhog Day fan, so whenever somebody does something different with a Groundhog Day theme, I'm actually more excited about it. Next one was a horrible movie, Triangle of Sadness. Everybody kept telling me to watch this. Kept saying it's like The Menu, which I loved. It's like one of those eat the rich stories, where you're like against the rich and blah blah blah, and the I don't know what else you'd say. Trying to think of the best word to present it. There isn't one. Triangle of Sadness sucked. Even with Woody Harrelson in it, it was not a good movie. It just wasn't. There's a 15-minute throw up scene, and I hate throw up. You can ask all 5 of my kids. I never cleaned up throw up. I clean up poop, piss, all that kind of stuff, but I never cleaned up throw up. I instantly want to throw up, even when I see it or hear it. And I know there's a lot of people out there like that. So don't watch this if you don't like throw up. Plus, I didn't care about the people at all. Woody Harrelson's hardly in it, and he's not much when he is in it. So yeah, I gave it 1 star out of 5. Not worth it. Time Cut was the next one I watched, which this one was really good. I was surprised by this one. I wasn't really excited about watching it, and then when I did, I was like, wow. I give it 3 out of 5 stars. It's a basic slasher movie, but it's like Back to the Future slasher movie, where she has to go back and try and save her sister, her older sister, who died much many years ago before she was even born. There's a lot of 80s aesthetic in it, a lot of 80s music, and whenever you get that together, that's 1 star automatically for me. But as far as a slasher film, just a basic slasher film, but it's fun. It is a lot of fun. So I give it 3 out of 5. The next one is Night Bitch, which, yes, gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Love Amy Adams. That's the only reason I probably gave it 2 stars. Don't say anything. I did understand the movie, so don't say, well, you just don't get the message. You're a guy. Blah, blah. No, I get the message. I had 2 wives and I had 5 kids. I know how wives can be when they're pregnant, and or women. And I know it's a very primal and brutal thing, and you can get very animalistic. So I understood the whole message of the movie. I just didn't think it really went anywhere. After we decided that she was going to go on this journey, it was kind of like, oh, okay, she's digging now. Okay, she's doing this dog thing now or wolf thing. It was just, I don't know. I just didn't think it really went anywhere. But I gave Amy Adams the 2 stars because she deserves it. The next one is a very offensive film to some people these days, I think, Under the Rainbow. This is a story from the 70s, and it's cheesy, but it's like a comfort movie for me, is what I said. The main reason for that is because I loved this movie in the 70s. It's about the Wizard of Oz and about the little people that were involved in it, and the hotel they stayed in, and all the madness and wildness and everything that went off. And Chevy Chase plays a detective. Carrie Fisher plays somebody that's helping with the little people, I do believe, if I remember. Um, and it's a lot of fun. It's just, as I say, 70s silly. It's just a silly movie, but it's a lot of fun. But there's also a lot of offensive stuff in it. I mean, as far as like in today's day and age, I don't think little people would like it a lot, or people who know little people. There's a lot of stuff that comes off as very offensive in this day and age, but it's still a good silly movie, I think. But yeah, it's just because another one's a member berry. It's kind of sentimental, so I gave it extra stars. The next one is I'm Just Effing With You, which I hated. I gave it 2 stars because I liked the way it was shot. It was very very how do they say that, gonzo. Yeah, and there was a couple of good jokes here and there, but all it basically is this dude who you've seen before. What's his name? Hayes MacArthur. Yeah, he's been in Dear Santa, The Way Back, which I liked. Let's see what else. Life as We Know It. Yeah, he's been Haunted House. Yeah, he's never become a huge star, but he's been in a ton of stuff. And he's just annoying the whole movie, and it's just about him playing pranks and tricks on this guy over and over again. I thought there was a kind of a humorous aspect to some of it, but not much. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I always usually try to give at least 1 or 2 stars, only because people spend a lot of time making a movie, and I know a lot of people don't think that way. You're not supposed to think that way, but my movie reviews are always just basic. I'm not going into, oh, when he sat at this table, the lighting and it was so, I'm not into all that. It's amazing, or it's awesome, or it's not, or it's shitty. I mean, that's, I'm going to tell it like it is. But this, I'm Just Effing With You, don't bother. Don't bother. Book of Blood, don't bother. I gave it 3 because one of the stories in it wasn't too bad. I think it's 3 stories, and they're supposed to be done by Clive Barker, but I don't see Clive Barker's fingerprints on this anywhere. So I don't know if it just came from little stories of him. But yeah, it's not great. Like I said, it's an anthology, and it's not terrific. There's not much to say about it or the stories. I can't even remember which one I really liked. But yeah, I didn't think much of it. 3 out of 5 stars. The other one that people have been telling me to watch over and over is Lake Mungo. Hey man, if you really like Blair Witch, watch Lake Mungo. Or if you really like found footage films and documentaries that are, done in that style, you'll love it. Well, I'm going to give them credit. I give them half a star because they made me believe that it was a documentary. I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't real. But they did do a very good job cutting up the footage and making it look like a documentary or a found footage film or whatever. They did a good job with that. Just the story was just dumb. I didn't get it. It's not that I didn't get it. I mean, I got it, but it was just dumb. After watching it, I was like, God, this was excruciating to sit through. So I gave it half a star. It's What's Inside. That was the next one we watched. That was my daughter's pick. This is kind of like the Speak No Evil movie with the hand that you touched, and all the weird stuff happened. This one is a couple or a few adults get together for a reunion, and one of the guys that they haven't seen in ages shows up with this box, and it's kind of like the Speak No Evil thing, except for this is like an electronic thing you put on, and it makes you feel like you're in other people's, like you're another person. Like you're in somebody else's body in the room. And of course, it's a horror film, so it just gets more and more excessive. It's not too horrific. It's not really gore horror. Yeah, it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. It was as good as Speak No Evil. It's just a different kind of device, but it's the same kind of storyline. But yeah, I thought it was really good. Next one up is Saturday Night. Of course, Saturday night is the loneliest night in the world. So Saturday Night is my next one, and I loved this movie. Of course, I did. Saturday Night Live, and this goes along with the Saturday Night Live theme that we had going for February. I love this movie. Everybody in it did a great job. The guy who played John Belushi was good, but I didn't think they really portrayed John Belushi that great. He's kind of just like a menace the whole entire time, and he wasn't always like that all the time. Nobody would have worked with him if he was constantly a menace and constantly disturbing stuff. Plus, there were scenes in it that I was like, this isn't cool, or this isn't right. Like they were rehearsing a sketch that wasn't going to take place till like 2 episodes later, on 20 minutes before they're going to go on air for the first show. I mean, that's what the construction worker. That didn't come till the second or third episode. It was weird that they would have been rehearsing it like 20 minutes before they're going on. Like, and Belushi being over at Rockefeller Center on the ice 20 minutes before they're going on air. I didn't believe it. So I'm sure they added some stuff in for, and that's all right. But everybody did a good job. The guy who did Chevy Chase, he played the Penguin in Gotham, and I thought he was awesome in Gotham, and he was really good in this. He didn't look exactly like Chevy, but he did such a good impression of Chevy. After watching the movie, you kind of believed it was him. Same with the guy who played Dan Aykroyd. Excellent job. The girl who played Gilda, who I love Gilda, she was one of my favorites. She sounded a lot like Gilda, but she didn't look much like her. But Lorraine Newman was good. The guy who played Garrett Morris, fantastic. I could have mistaken him for Garrett Morris after the movie was over. And the guy who played Lauren did a really good job. He didn't do the whole overbearing Dr. Evil imitation of Lorne Michaels that people like to do. He just did kind of a subtle one. You could hear it in there a little bit. But yeah, and it was just great to see all that stuff and see all the adventures and the fun that they got up to during that night. But the next thing we watched was SNL 50th anniversary, of course, which was what the whole SNL February thing was all about. SNL had their 50th anniversary special, which is awesome and amazing. And for years and years, I've always wanted them to do things where other people were in skits with other people that had been in different eras, and they finally did that. And I thought that was really amazing to see Eddie Murphy in a sketch with Kenan Thompson and Tracy Morgan. I'm gonna get you pregnant. That's my Tracy Morgan. Yeah, it's horrible. I know. I'm not an impressionist. Never claimed to be. Hey, yeah, it was just amazing seeing all these, like Eddie Murphy with Tracy Morgan, like I said, and Keenan, and then Mike Myers came back and did the Jewish lady. I can never remember her name, the Verklempt lady. I can never remember her name, but I had heard that if Dana Carvey was supposed to show up and he got sick, he got the flu, and I heard they were going to do Wayne's World, which would have been really cool, but Dana Carvey got sick, which kind of sucks. But there was a lot of good skits in it. The Weekend Update was funny, and there was some. Dan Aykroyd wasn't there, which I still don't understand, but whatever. So anyway, so the next one was Man. I give that 4 out of 5. Next one was Man on the Moon. I give 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. Wanted to share it with my kids because they had never seen it, and I thought Jim Carrey did a great job on this movie. I always have. Plus, it was part of the Saturday Night Live thing because, as you know, in the movie and in real life, Andy Kaufman was one of the first guests on Saturday Night Live. So that was really cool, and I wanted them to see who this guy was exactly, because he's got just a brilliant subversive comedy that's always been great. I was in love with Andy Kaufman in the 70s when I was little, and I've always loved him since. So I wanted to see my kids what he was all about and kind of show them without having to explain it or show a bunch of clips, because this movie kind of takes you everywhere with him. The next one was... and I gave that 4. Yeah, I already said that. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This is one of my son's picks. I like this one. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't love it. The beauty of it was amazing. It's about a woman who paints portraits and has to go clear across the country to paint portraits of royalty or famous people, and it's all about their relationship and how they become in love with each other. It's a really good love story, and I said it's shot really beautiful. It's just, I don't know, the story just didn't pull me in as much as I thought it would. So that's why I only give it 3 stars. Otherwise, it would have been a lot higher. The Accountant. I had never seen The Accountant. I had never seen this movie, and this is my type of movie because I like these, conspiracy movies and bad guys in the background and hitmen and all that kind of stuff. And this is really a really good movie. The reason I'd never seen it before was because it wasn't on my radar. And then I saw the preview for The Accountant 2, and I was like, I've got to see this. So I watched it a couple days ago, as you can see, and or a few days ago, and really liked it. Two things good about it: the whole conspiracy aspect of it, and the whole underground secrets of the cartel and mob. That whole aspect of it I loved, but I also love the autism aspect of it. They really do a good job of showing autistic kids and him as because the main character, Ben Affleck's character, is autistic, and it has to deal with a lot with what he does now and how he is and how his dad raised him. And they did a really super job of like actually explaining that and giving great depth and drama to it in a movie like this that was probably just supposed to be a cool action movie. So I really like that. So I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5, and now I'm looking forward to the next one. Seven Ups was the next movie I watched. Not very good. 2 out of 5 stars, only because Roy Scheider, and only because of the 70s grittiness of it. But the only way I can explain this movie is mobs and cops. Mobs and cops. There's no real story that I saw. It's just mobs and cops meeting each other, getting in trouble with each other, going after each other, shooting each other. I just don't think the story added up to much at all. And that's important. You can look like a great movie and have some great actors in it, but that story matters. The next one is Here. And I know a lot of people did not like this one. I'm not real sure why. I think because the story is a little lacking. But I said the VFX are the highlight. I love films that take place in one location also. The story is a little thin and formula, whatever, but still works. And so that's what I thought. The story was thin. That's why I didn't give it more stars, because the VFX were awesome. You're in this one place the whole time. You see it from dinosaur age to caveman age to the colonial war to the 50s to the 70s to the 90s. You see it in every aspect. That one house. And the aging technique is awesome on Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. It looked like I was seeing Tom Hanks from Bachelor Party for the first time in years. It was great. I thought it was the VFX really made it for me, because they're not VFX like Star Wars or something like that, or a big action movie, or they're minimal ones that make a huge difference. So I liked it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. I don't know why nobody else liked it. Hot Stuff. This is another 70s silly one, and it's very sentimental for me. I used to watch it all the time, and I just ran across it on YouTube one night, and I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to watch this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, mainly for sentimental reasons, because I saw this at the theater with my parents, and then I used to watch it all the time on Showtime. I said, this is a childhood favorite. Watched it all the time on Showtime. A little silly, but still holds up. And Susan Plachette is such a foxy, underrated 70s queen. I can't believe that she wasn't up on every boy's wall in the 70s. She is so fantastic in this movie. And that raspy, smoky voice. Oh, my goodness, Suzanne. Anyway, and Dom DeLuise and Jerry Reed are in it, and they play like 3 cops who start a pawn shop to catch people who are thieving and then trying to pawn it. It's a pretty basic premise, and it's just it's like DC Cab, if you remember DC Cab. It's kind of silly like that, and just a whole bunch of little stories all involved. It goes along with all that 70s stuff, Smokey and the Bandit, Hooper, Cannonball Run, all those types of movies. Next one was I Used to Be Funny. This was my daughter's pick. She told me it was going to be depressing when we started it, and it was depressing, but it's pretty good. I won't say it's very good, because it's not lighthearted. I can say that, and I kind of like lighthearted movies. But yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5. It's about a female comedian who has something happen to her and ends up getting PTSD, and her going through it, and her friends going through it with her. And this girl is really good. The actress, let me see what her name is. I just saw her in something else. Rachel Sennett. Yeah, she was in the Saturday Night movie too. And she's really good. She's really good in it. And I think she kind of makes the movie, even though it's about a really heavy subject and it kind of bums you out. But yeah, 3 out of 5 stars, definitely. And if you're wondering what the hearts mean on some of these, where some of them have hearts and some of them don't, I only put a heart on if I would watch it again. So yeah, that's what the hearts are for. The next one we watched was my choice. It was Roger Waters' The Wall, live in Berlin. If you've never seen this, please go on YouTube and look up the HD copy right away and check it out. It's hard to find on DVD, and it's hard to find on digital or streaming, but you can see an HD copy, which is the best copy you will ever see of it. And it's an amazing concert. All kinds of cameos doing The Wall, all back to back. We got Cyndi Lauper, Bryan Adams, Joni Mitchell, Van Morrison, all kinds of Tim Curry. It's like a Broadway play plus a musical. They really go the whole way when it comes to the concept art of the album and everything that happens. It's really awesome, and they build a giant entire wall before your eyes while they're doing the concert, and then tear it down. It's yeah. If you get a chance, check it out. Especially if you like Pink Floyd. If you're a diehard Pink Floyd, you might not like it because there is a lot of songs that that are done by other people, and you might complain about it. This is Spinal Tap was the next one we watched. This was my son's. And I gave The Wall 5 out of 5. This is Spinal Tap. This is my son's pick, and I've actually had this on my share list for my kids for about 2 years, and I just wasn't sure if it still held up and would hold up with my kids. But it did. They liked it. My daughter didn't like it as much as my son did, but and I think it still does hold up. It's so good. I mean, everything about it is good. And then when you think about the other aspect of that, it was improv, and the fact that all these guys, these three guys here, Harry Shearer, Michael McKean, and Christopher Guest, who's gone on to do tons of amazing mockumentaries, they wrote all the music and everything too. And they went on to tour. They went on to do more albums. I mean, they are legendary. Spinal Tap is legendary. So I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because, yeah, if you haven't seen it, I mean, what are you waiting for? Come on, let's go. Next one is, and I think, I don't know if I said it earlier, but I was starting to get some stuff on my list that I hadn't watched in a while. And Amsterdam, I was not looking forward to watching. I got it for $5. I liked it for the actors, and I thought it was about Hollywood. It's not. It's very political. It's all about politics and war. The Margot Robbie and Christian Bale, and I don't know what the other guys. He's been around for years. Anyway, I don't know what this was all about. I mean, I do. It was political, and I thought it was going to be show business. Maybe a lot of other people, because they kind of showed it as this show busy, hedonistic thing in the trailer, and that's what I thought it was going to be. Was about the old 30s and 40s and stuff, and it wasn't. I mean, it was about the 30s and 40s, but it's all political. It's a whole big political scheme, and I just I didn't care for it as much as I thought I was going to, and I think I was let down. It's beautifully shot though. It looks amazing. So I gave that 2.5 out of 5. The next one, I don't know why I didn't give it 5 out of 5, but this is September 5th. If you're not aware of what happened on September 5th in 1972, hostages were taken at the Olympics in Germany by terrorists. They took the Israeli hostages. Terrorists did. And so what happened was they had this happen in the Olympic Village. I'm just trying to I want to get my story straight for a minute. This happened in the Olympic Village. Now, I've seen documentaries and I've read about this a lot because these kind of reality things it really intrigue me when stuff real life happens like this. It really intrigues me. I'm sure it does a lot of people. But I was thinking, I had just, I'd seen Munich years ago, and I loved that one by Steven Spielberg with Eric Bana. That was a good one, and I've just seen so much on this. I was thinking, what else could they do? Well, they really brought it home with this one. This is all told from the perspective of all the news people in ABC News. First of all, I didn't know this was their first live broadcast ever. Was in 1972 for the Olympics. They were the first ones to ever do it for the Olympics. So it was this big deal. But everything was so primitive. So it was hard to do. So you see the entire story. You don't see the apartment where the hostages were really. You don't see the village, the Olympic Village. You don't see any of the outside stuff. It all takes place basically in ABC Sports. And them dealing with other networks trying to, take their story and just what happening outside and all the primal or primitive equipment that they had, like they literally had to take a TV camera. And if you remember how big TV cameras were back in the 70s, they were huge and they were heavy. And they had to take guys and shove that across the parking lot onto a hill just so they could get live shots of the apartment where the hostages were. I mean, it's just all the different stuff they had to do just to show those live images and how important they thought was to get it through. They show real footage of Jim McKay, who was kind of anchoring the whole entire deal because he was ABC Sports. And then they had Peter Jennings, a guy who sounded just like Peter Jennings. You didn't really see his face much. I don't know if that was because he didn't look like him or what, but yeah, this is go check this movie out, especially if you're into like real time events that have happened in the past and history, because this was a very tragic event for the Israeli athletes, and told in this way is a totally different way to tell it. I mean, I love go back to Here and other movies like that. I like it when it all happens in one place, and this is kind of does happen all in one place, and it's really good. And the actors in it are amazing. Some of them you don't know. There's not a lot of famous stars in this. I think it was kind of independently done, but yeah, Great movie. Great one to end February with. And if you're seeing why I put ones on the first, Spinal Tap, Roger Waters, I Used to Be Funny, I did watch on the 26th, 27th, 28th. But then I forgot about February ending on the 28th. So I was planning on watching Amsterdam in September 5th. It's still in February. So I just went ahead and I considered it a leap year, and I added them on to the March 1st and 3rd. So, but we got a lot of stuff coming in March, I think. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But I hope you enjoyed this, guys. I am the Media Junkie. Thank you for joining me. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And remember, hashtag 50 for 15. I'm trying to get 50 subscribers by the 15th of April, which will be my year anniversary of streaming every day on YouTube. And I've wanted to do this for so long, and I just want to get 50 subscribers by the 15th of April, which will be my year anniversary. So go to my YouTube channel, hit subscribe, please. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, and you'll get to see amazing videos like this. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm the Media Junkie, and I am out of here.
Bobby, what's yours?
I like movies that make America look great. Like Rambo Part 3. Great film.